Afternoon, or good morning, midday. It's good to be back into the swing of thing again. Our kids on Friday, our young men were able to get out on Friday and get some of the stiffness out from the game. We gave them Saturday off and hit it again on Sunday yesterday as in preparation for Marshall. And the whole concentration and the focus has been on finding a way to beat Marshall. I'm actually very excited to get to West Virginia to see a good friend, a colleague, guy that I coached. We spent 2 years together at North Carolina State. He was actually my jogging partner. We used to run every day together, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with Doc Holliday before the game, give him a big hug. And our families know each other, our kids know each other. So it'll be nice to see Doc again, and I want to compliment him on the team that he's had. He's lost some major players last year, both offensively and defensively, obviously with the quarterback and Cato, but they seem to reload and have put themselves in a position at 6-1 right now to continue to compete for the Conference USA East Division. So he's done a tremendous job with that program. We all knew he would. He's waited for an opportunity. Someone came calling, gave him an opportunity, and he's definitely run with it. A very successful coach, knew that he would do very, very well. We're excited about the opportunity to go up to Huntington and to play Marshall. And it'll be an exciting time for our kids. They had a good practice last night. They're very focused in on the task at hand and the opportunity that we have to go play them and get out of town for a minute and just keep the focus in where we have it, where we're trying to find a way to go get us one. And if we can get us one, then maybe two will come. But our main focus right now has been on Marshall and ourselves and making sure that we're doing right, everything off the field and everything on the field to give ourselves an opportunity to go compete in a very competitive game this weekend.
Marshall's off to a 6-1 start. What is it if you look at that that makes them so competitive?
They've been really traditional in their winning. Let's be honest. They're successful in what they do offensively, and with Coach Heater at defense, they've done a great job of building the stability in there. They're going to force you to throw the football. They're going to load the box and see if you've got the guy that can pull the trigger and throw the ball around the field. And what I've done over the last 3 days is look at every game from 2014 and 2015 and try to find a quarterback that matches what our quarterback does and see what success they had, the team or the opponents that faced them last year. So I'm trying to go back through, and we are as a staff trying to find schemes that our kid is doing right now that may create some problems, that may have created some problems for them last year. And I'm not giving our game plan away, but it's what we do. So we've got to be able to find the schemes that give our team a chance to run on the field. But he's done a great job. I mean, he's got the kids believing. They play very well at home. They're very competitive when they go on the road. They seem to find a way to win games, and they compete like crazy. They've got kids from up and down the East Coast, all the way from Florida, Virginia, some kids from Ohio, even a kid from Sweden. They've done a good job of bringing in the right kids to that program and understand what Huntington's like and fit into the community and into the school, and then finding guys that fit what his personality is.
They made the move to the freshman quarterback in the middle of the year. He recruited for it. Can you talk a little about him, and are you a little bit?
Yeah, he's right there from Wharton. He was probably no more than 1.5 miles, 2 miles from my home when I lived in Tampa. I do remember him. I remember looking at film on him. Real tall kid, strong arm, more of a thrower. He can run, obviously, but a very strong-armed kid that makes good decisions and gives themselves a chance to push the ball down the field. Really impressed with what he does.
What was the biggest challenge getting Demarcus Smith getting ready for this year?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, we mentioned it before. I mentioned it last week. He missed all spring ball. That's 15 practices and basically 25 days of football, where you're actually in the film room, you're studying, you're getting a chance to compete, work through the concepts and schemes and learning it. And then it's just like he said when we were talking the other night after the game. He said, "Coach, I left 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 on the field," and we did. I mean, it could have been 42 points there that we could have scored. And he said, the one penalty that was unfortunate, I thought it was a bang play. It could have went either way. They could obviously they called it, but they could not have called it either. And we're sitting on the 10-yard line, and then we're rolling down the field, and he fumbles the ball, inside the 15-20. There's another opportunity to score. So I mean, you're looking at 14 more points and a chance to put some points on the board. So there was some positive thing. And he said, "Coach, I've got to get better, in the heat of the moment I've got to make sure that I'm getting the signals, and because I kept seeing him do this, I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, Coach, it wasn't the lights. He goes, I was sweating like crazy. So I said, well, make sure you got your towel, wipe your eyes off and forehead, and make sure you're on it. But in the heat of the moment, when things are going as hectic as they are going, and at the pace we're trying to push, he's got to continue to focus and understand. So every time I see him, I'm giving him signals to make sure that he's right. And I told all the other quarterbacks and some of the other receivers, just ask him what this signal is, ask him what that signal is, so that he's 100%. And he wasn't bad, but there was a couple times where he was. I don't remember that signal, Coach. So in the heat of the battle, sometimes those things happen. But I think it's just in the progress of his development and as it took its shape, those are things that you as a coach, you're going, God, I want to put him out there, but I can't, because if he doesn't understand the signals, then it kills our pace and kills the tempo and everything else. Now it becomes, it just hurts the rhythm of our offense, and that's what we're trying not to do. Obviously, when I felt like he had earned it and he had done a good job of starting to get it, he really started coming. And obviously he made some mistakes, we all know that, but we all saw the things that he could do with the ball in his hand. And it was about the right time. I said it'd be about the fourth, fifth game where he'd really be able to compete for the job and understand what we're asking him to do.
After having an opportunity to look at it on film, did your assessment sway one way or the other on his performance Thursday?
We're very critical. He and I were both, and he was probably more critical than I was in terms of what I expected from him on Thursday night. But he said, Coach, like I said, I left 2 touchdowns on the field. I've got to take care of the football. I got to understand my drops. He was taking a 5-step drop instead of a 3-step drop, and it throws off his rhythm and timing. That's where a lot of balls were in the dirt a little bit, and you're going, what's he missing a wide open receiver like that? Well, his footwork didn't match the scheme, and that's something that we got to really work hard on this week. And you get in the heat of the moment, because in practice he does it exactly right. Timing's on it, ball's on him, on a receiver. But when his footwork's off, he's off balance, or the timing's off in terms of the depth of the receiver, and the receiver's expecting the ball, and all of a sudden it's not there because he's taking an improper drop. So, he was probably a little more critical than I was on that part of it. We still want that from him. But in terms of what he was able to create for us when things broke down is what, I'm used to seeing when some of the kids we had at South Florida, they were able to do that. Matt Grothe did, B.J. Daniels did, they were able to do that, and we saw that there. He knows he can be much better. He was very critical. We met here on Saturday. He came over and watched the parts of the game with me, and we pointed out some things, and he was already on to Marshall looking at film. But he's very hard on himself. He wants to lead this team to victory. He wants to be the team leader on offense, and he understands it's going to take some time in terms of getting that acceptance from his teammates. I think they like what he brings to the table. I think they want him to be a little more consistent, and so does he. He wants to be more consistent, and he wants to get a little more rhythm with his receivers. He felt like he was a little off on some things, and then he started pressing. He was so amped up. We all saw it. He was anxious. He wanted to go out and make the big play, and so I think what he's done is given himself a chance to see what he did. We saw what he could do. Now let's fine-tune the little things and make the little things great.
You mentioned after the game, I think, or at some point, you kind of got into it with him a little bit. Kind of locked yourselves in a room and had it out. So, take us through that. What was it that happened?
Well, we'd come off the field. I believe it was, I want to say it was Tuesday, the week of the Portland State game. I want to say it was Tuesday. And he came to my office, and he was waiting for me, or maybe it was Wednesday. It was a Tuesday. Anyway, it was one of those days. And he was sitting in my room, and then he made a comment, and I kind of lost my cool, and that's uncharacteristic of Coach Canales to lose his cool, because I'm pretty poised about everything. But he made a comment, and it wasn't a derogatory comment or anything like that. It was just, what do I have to do to get on the field? And no, I think it was right after. Yeah, it was an Portland State game. And I said, well, these are the things I see as a coach. These are things that we expect from you as a player. You just got done playing in the Southern Miss game. We called half the plays wrong, and you're missing the signals, and then we throw a pick in the end zone, and all the little things that go to it. And then it just kind of got heated. And it wasn't me or both of us going at each other. It was just both trying to prove a point about what he felt he could do to help this team, and then what I felt what needed to be done to show you deserve that opportunity. And then when we broke it down, the 3 questions I asked him, he was able to answer. He couldn't answer yes to any of the 3. And that's when he said, "You're right, Coach." And then we came to an agreement, and we both looked at each other, smiled, and I said, "Who loves you?" He says, "You, Coach C." I said, "You're dang right." And as I love all my guys. And I said, "This is what I expect from you." And he went out the next couple of days and was on point. He was exactly what I expected from him. And he did everything I asked him to do. And then we gave him the opportunity in the Portland State game, and he took it right down the field. And we saw what he was capable of doing, and then this is what we decided. This is where we got to make the move. He gives us an opportunity to do some things that the other two didn't, and gives us a chance to try to go win some games. So that's kind of what happened. I can't tell you the questions.
I was just going to ask you, though. So, I mean, did it really kind of help bring things home for him, or was that?
I think it did. It really did. I think it hit home for him. He really looked at me and he goes, "You're right." And being Coach Canales, and I just said, "I know I'm right. I've been doing this 30 years. I know I'm right, you know." And he realized then that this is the way that we expect our kids to perform, and our kids to act, and our kids to practice, and all the little things that I want him to do. I said, "I will help you get where you want to go." And I said, and I've told all the quarterbacks, "I will help you where you want to go if you'll help yourself get there. I can only do so much for you, and then it's got to be you've got to come the other half. But I'll get you there and get you ready to play. It's all the other little things you got to do. Spend time in the film room, before practice, after practice, all those little things that mean a lot."
What went into getting him ready? Was it extra practice? Was it sitting there with him in the film room where there's some things that happened over the week?
Well, we narrowed down the package a little bit, spread some things out, gave him a chance to see people in space, and then we just said, "This is what we want you to do. This is what we're going to ask you to do," and then just go out and execute it. And he really prepared as good as anyone I've ever seen. He really came and spent some time in the film room. If he wasn't in class, he was in the film room. He was in my office, or he was in the conference room watching film. He was taking notes. He was asking questions. All the things that you want your quarterbacks to do, he was doing. And I always told him, I said, the question you don't ask is the one that's going to hurt you. So ask a question. Even if you don't understand and you're not sure why, just ask it. I said, I know as a coach, I want to know, so I'm going to ask. It's like anything else. If I want to know something, I want to ask. And that's what he started doing. He started asking a lot more.
Was that a change from before? I know earlier in the season we heard a lot that he didn't spend the time that was necessary to get ready. Was that a big change over the last week?
That was a big change. Yeah, we saw the real change after the Portland State game, where he was really spending time. And even leading up to the Portland State, after we had that come to Jesus meeting, him and he really started spending the time in preparation for the opportunity. And he's done a great job and continue to prepare. He's in the film room, and he was in there this morning. When I came out of a meeting, he was in my office already watching film, looking at cut-ups. He was in here on Saturday. Obviously on Sunday, he was up in the film room. And he takes this very serious, and which I'm glad he is. I think this is a great opportunity for him, and it gives us a chance, if he's going to be, in tune to what Marshall is doing, to give ourselves a chance.
You give him a lot of extra reps in practice, and once you go.
I did. Obviously, when we were getting ready to play Western Kentucky in such that short period of time, I gave him a lot more reps, even more than I would normally do a starter, because it was such a short week. I had to get him ready to play and give him as many reps as I could. And I'll continue to do that this week, try to get him as many reps as possible.
How important are these next 6 games just in terms of his maturity and growth, and for next season being ready to compete?
I think every rep he takes, whether it's practice, whether it's a walkthrough, game situation, is obviously going to help him in his development and getting adjusted to the speed of Division I football, to be honest with you. And I think that's going to be help his growth as a quarterback. And then just getting around our guys, and taking on that role as a starting quarterback. It obviously will take a little time as he continues to go, as he starts making those plays. He gets more comfortable with the speed of it, gets more comfortable in the pocket, gets more comfortable moving in and out of the pocket and making the throws that we all expect him to make. You saw some of the throws he made. The one throw he made down on the sprint right that he made to Tigari that got called back. I ain't seen a throw like that in a long time, guys. That was impressive. So you can see what he's capable of doing. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when he gets comfortable in there and really starts going?
Obviously, last week being a short week, there's a disadvantage there. What do you do this week to take advantage of the extra time that you're ready for Marshall?
Well, we had a good practice yesterday, Sunday, obviously, and our kids were pretty focused in on what we were asking them to do, and we talked about it from this point on. Everything that we do on and off the field is to beat Marshall, and that's the way we're preparing in meetings, to walkthroughs, to practice. Everything we're asking our kids to do, it's to beat Marshall, and that's all we're focused on. We're not worried about 2 weeks from now, a week from now. We're not. All we're worried about is that this day. Can we win this day? Have we beaten Marshall today, both on and off the field? And that's what we're talking about. When we walk around campus, we see each other. What are we supposed to say to each other? Beat Marshall. And that's got to be the focus, and that's what I'm trying to get our kids to do. If I see them and they don't say beat Marshall to me, the consequences. So I just want the focus of our kids to understand, and that's whether he's a walk-on, whether he's a scout team player, a job taker, it doesn't matter. Everyone has a role to help us beat Marshall, and that's our mentality this week.
Since you don't have a bye week built into your schedule, kind of a refresher week or rest, a week of rest, do you take a day or two out of this little longer week to give the kids a day off, or did you just use it for more practice?
We gave them Saturday off. We met on Friday after the game. We covered a few things, some expectations I had for them during the weekend, what I expected them, the phone calls I was hoping not to get, obviously, and we didn't get any of those, so that was a good thing. And I mentioned to them that if there was an issue and they needed to call somebody, to call me, I'd come get them, no questions asked, because I care about our kids. I want our kids to make sure they're taken care of, and that know that Coach Canales has their back. And I would ask no questions, but there was no issue, so it was great. And they seemed to they took care of themselves, and it gave them a chance. And it's funny because I told them, I said, like I mentioned to you guys, they had all Friday afternoon off after we did our run and lift. And they had all Friday night, and all Saturday morning, all Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night, and Sunday morning, and Sunday afternoon until we met. So to me, that was 8 days, as I looked at it. So they had a chance to get their bye weekend, and that's kind of how we looked at it. We kind of laughed about it, but they came back fresh. You could see it yesterday. They came back with a bounce in their step. They were excited to get back. Everyone to a T was on time. Yesterday, team meeting. So, all the little things that we're asking them to do, they're doing.
You mentioned to us last week there are a few kids that had a little extra work.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody show up.
Everybody showed up. Everybody showed up. We took care of it. And it's just, and like I told them, I said, hey, even Coach Canales is off social media. I haven't been on Twitter, and I'm one of those guys that love to get on there and post a motivational quote every morning to all the recruits that are out there, and it's something that motivates me. And I got guys texting me all the time, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? I told them, I'm not on social media and I'm not on Twitter until we win a game. And I told the kids that. I told our players that. Our student athletes that. I won't be on it. And then I told the coaches that have, texted me or called me and said, why aren't you doing it? I said, until we win a game. I'm off social media. I'm going to do the same thing I'm asking our kids to do.
How much has DeMarcus progressed in just the short amount of time that you guys have had?
We're going to continue to see growth and development. We're going to see some upside, and there's so much potential and upside in his growth as a quarterback and his development as a quarterback. I think it's sky's the limit as he continues to grow and learn. And what's been great about it is the way that Andrew McNulty and Josh Greer have helped him. They truly have helped him and said, as you see this, are you seeing that? And it's good to see. These guys are team players. They want the team to win. And they understand that DeMarcus gives us the best chance to win. So they've been great in the room. And I applaud them for that. They just want this team to win. Sure, they'd like to be the starting quarterback. Sure, they'd like to have the ball in their hand. But there's only one football and one quarterback. It's not like the offensive lineman. There's 5 guys. So they've done a great job in helping in his development. We all know there's a big upside coming. We're going to see some very positive things over the next 6 weeks. And hopefully those will translate into victories. And will give us a chance to finish this season strong.
What is it about him that you like? Obviously you went and got him from Kansas recruited him. What was it about him that you thought, this guy's?
Obviously his arm. He's got obviously one of the stronger arms I've been around and seen. His mobility, and I'm still trying to shed about 5 to 7 pounds off him right now. And we ran yesterday together. So that's something that we did after practice, just trying to get some of that off. But he just brings a confidence about him that he truly believes he can go out and win every game. It's a little different, He's a lot like B.J. Daniels that I had at South Florida and Matt Grothe. They just believed they were going to go out and win. It didn't matter the situation of the game or who we were playing and the opponent. They didn't care. They just felt they would go and win. And I saw a lot of that in Phillip when I turned to Coach Phillip Rivers. Phillip, he felt like he was going to win every game. He was so competitive. It was amazing. And see a little bit of that at Marcus. Marcus is a real competitor. He hates to lose in drills, and we're going competitive drills. He believes he can will the team to win with his performance, and those things will come as his development and progression goes in the quarterback position.
You talk about the bye week. You feel like that kind of put you guys behind the 8 ball. You guys are one of the few
It's a shame it happened, but that's an excuse. You got to play. And we don't look at it as, well, we had to play 12 straight. Well, we had a bye week. It was early in the season, obviously. But we didn't look at it that way. We're going to line up and play who we're supposed to that week. And we see if we can get on the roll the next 6. Because that's all I care about right now, and our kids care about, our players care about right now, is beating Marshall. And I don't look at that because that's in the past. I can't change what's happened. I can't change the schedule. What we can do is control our future today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday as we go in preparation for Marshall. That we can control. We're going to show up and play Marshall and then see what happens.
Just in terms of preparation and injuries, does that have any effect on that? You guys get more tired or
it happens all the time everywhere you go, guys, whether it's a bye week or not. Kids are going to get tired. They're going to get run down. The key is to continue to keep their weight up, obviously, and then we get them in breakfast club and the different things you try to do to keep their weight up. You monitor their weights through the season to make sure they're staying at a certain weight so they can be competitive on the field. But we haven't had a serious rash of injuries, unlike 2010 when we started the season and lost 14 players. So it's been a blessing right now that we've had our stock in there, maybe just 1 or 2 key losses.
What's Marcus like personally? Is he a confident kid, a quiet kid?
He's a confident kid. When you get around him, at first he's a little quiet. He's kind of getting to feel you out a little bit, and then when he gets comfortable with you, he opens up a lot, and he is a confident kid. That he is. He just believes that he can will a team to win, and he wants to be the leader. He wants to lead this team to victory. He believes that he can. And I think that's where it came to Jesus meeting, because he said, Coach, I can do this. And then when we said, well, here are the things that need to be done, and then when he realized he needed to do that, it's when it all hit home to him. He said, you're right. And now we're seeing some of the benefits that will continue to go over the next 6 weeks and then into his senior season.
I mean, he's been all over the place. He was in Louisville and then Central Florida, and then he goes to Western and junior college and up here. I mean, was that just a product of some bad luck, or why do you think he's bouncing around so much?
Whether it's bad luck, whether it's timing, like I told DeMarcus, I don't care where you've been. I don't care why you went there or why you left there. What I care about is you're here now, and that's what I care about. Is you're here, you're happy you're here, this is where you want to be, you don't want to leave, you went through a little adversity and struggle, and I think he truly believed he was going to walk into a starting position without it being competitive. And then when the competitive start, that's when it really kind of grasped him. I need to work. I need to work at this. I need to prepare. And that was his development. I think he just assumed, well, I'm just going to walk and I'm going to be the starting quarterback. And then when we finally had those discussions as to you have to earn your way, nothing's given, then he realized that I do have to work at this. This is something that's not going to be handed to me. And so he's been great.
So you threw Nate Brooks and Asher Preston kind of to the wolves.
Wasn't that fun?
Last week. I mean, of all the places, of all the people who start 2 freshman quarterbacks, you start against Doty, who might be the best major quarterback in the country. How did they handle that?
No fear. I looked in their eyes and I talked to them. I said, don't you flinch. Do not flinch. Challenge the receivers. Go up there, play some press bail out of it. Do not be afraid against these guys. Coach, they said, Coach, and Ashton's the best one. He says, Coach, I ain't afraid of anybody. Line up Des Bryant, I'm going to take him on. He just has that personality. You talk about confident, holy smokes. That kid's got confidence. And, obviously, as a young kid, you're going to get burnt. I remember Mike Jenkins from the Dallas Cowboys, and they talk about his freshman year. He was getting burnt left and right at South Florida, and he first-round draft pick of the Cowboys. And as the more they play, the more confidence they get on the field to play a certain technique and do some different things. But they didn't flinch. They did not flinch. They were excited to be on the field, and they competed, and they're both a little light in the butt, we all know, but they weren't afraid. And that I applaud them on because of the situation they were put into, playing against the best quarterback in the league, obviously, we believe. And it's going to have a chance probably to play in the National Football League. So what a great baptism, as you'd say, by fire there to go out and do it. And they came through and they made some plays, and they're going to learn from a lot of the plays that happened and what they can do better next time. But we'll be better for it in the long run.
You start them again? Do you think that's something to stick with?
Sure, why not? They earned a spot. Someone's got to beat them out, Well, we got to lose. Go play. Play the guys that want to play. Play the guys that go out and perform. That's what we're trying to do right now. Get the guys in the field that are going to give us a chance to win. And if it's a freshman, so be it. Who's going to give us the best chance to win? That's what we're trying to do right now.
So there's some big potential there for those two teams?
There's no doubt. There is no doubt. Obviously, they got to get a little bit bigger and thicker, and put some muscle on and all that. And in 3 years, there won't be many teams be able to throw on those two cats. I promise you. Those guys are going to really grow into that position where they become a threat, and people are going to say, "Well, I don't want to go to him." Well, I don't want to go to his side either. So who do we throw to? So it's going to bring some things. There'll be some growing pains, obviously, as they go through it. But what a great opportunity for them to be in that position, and they've earned it. They've earned the opportunity.
9 straight losses on the road. It's been kind of a rough go out there. And granted, some of that's because you've got to go play
Sure.
a bunch of SEC teams or Big 12 teams or whoever it's been over the last year or so. But what do you guys need to do to break through?
Just continue to play. I mean, the way I look at it, it's whether it's home or it's away, the next one is the one you're going to win. That's how I look at it as. I can't change the past. We can't change what's happened, but we can sure try to help our future this week as we prepare to go on the road for the 10th game and see if we can get us a win. And it may not come this week. Maybe it'll come the next week. Maybe it'll come the next time we're on the road. But we're going to go to this week believing we're going to win. And I don't go into a game and say, well, I hope we win this one. I go in hey, we're going to beat Marshall. That's how I think. That's what I want our kids to think. We're going to play. This is a good football team we're going to play. I know how Doc's going to prepare him. I know what he's telling those guys. Him and I used to jog all the time and tell each other what we do if we ever became head coaches and what we do different when we were Chacamato. So, I know how he's preparing his kids. I know what he's telling them. So it's a great opportunity for us to go and see if we can get us one. But every opportunity we get a chance to play, our young men, our players get a chance to go compete and go win one.
Everybody available this week? Everybody back in good graces?
Yes, everyone is. Everyone's back in good graces. And I told them on Sunday meeting, I said, I don't like suspending players. I do not. It hurts me. It breaks my heart. But I will not allow anybody to keep us from winning. And if it means me suspending someone else, I will. Because no one's bigger in this program. And Coach Canales is a good guy. I feel I'm a player coach. But I do carry a very, very big stick. And that's why I look at it. I control it. And right now I'm in that position. And the coach says, hey, coach, this guy's doing this and he's not doing right. And we know there's consequences, then we do it, because no one is bigger in this program.
How's the team responding to Marcus leadership?
I think really well. They saw what he did on the field. So obviously they're excited about what he can bring to the table. Early, we had some receivers that were really frustrated, and I had to go talk to a couple of them and say, listen, man, this is his first start. This is his first chance to be out there. It's going to take a little time for him to get his rhythm. And once he gets his rhythm, he'll be fine. He'll find you. He'll make the plays. Just stick with him and just limit the frustrations on camera, like I like to tell him already. Don't be the distraction, be the example. And that's what I'm preaching each and every day to him. And you guys probably heard me say it all the time. You heard me the night when we did the press conference. I said, do not be the distraction, be the example. And that's what I want them all to do, is don't be a distraction. When you distract, you're distracting us from a chance to go be successful. And when you're the example, everyone wants to follow. And you can lead both from the front and from behind. And that's what I'm trying to get them to do, guys.
Other than Carlos, you really got no production out of wide receivers. Last week was the first time some other guys got contributed legitimately. Have you been disappointed in your receiver play up to that point?
No, not really. I mean, it's just kind of how things are set up in the schemes of what we're trying to do. It's obviously nice to see Kidsy catch a couple and Smiley catch a couple yesterday or in the game on Thursday. We're going to try to do some different things that might give those other kids an opportunity. And Carlos was getting a little frustrated in the game because he was in a position where they were doubling him, they were comboing and playing some bracket on him. And so that's why we moved him to another spot so we could try to get him one-on-one isolation as opposed to what they were doing. And then that's why we did that. So we've obviously got to manipulate where we want certain people in certain schemes. You saw the empty package, which was very nice to see. You'll probably see a little bit of that, I'm sure. As I'm sure Marshall will be preparing for that, obviously, but it gave him us a chance to spread the field, and DeMarcus to see the field, and then use his legs when he needed to. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.